For most of my life, I had this continual despisement, if that's even a word. Despisement? I'm going to have to look that one up later. I despised myself. Despised. I had a powerful level of self-loathing. Self-loathing for me manifested in this idea that I am atrocious, vile. I am irredeemable. I am this despicable thing. It really inhibited me from having any internal value, any internal self-esteem, any internal belief in myself, or desire to care for myself. It left me feeling unworthy of being cared for when it came to me taking care of me or my parents taking care of me when I was young. I always felt so wicked and despicable and despised that I know I mentioned this in previous videos, but I couldn't bring myself to look at myself in the mirror. I wouldn't even permit myself to be in a position where I had any level of value whatsoever at all, period. And I had such unbelievable disdain for myself. It was pretty absurd, the level of disdain that I had. The level of, I don't know, maybe injustice that I had towards myself. I didn't even see myself as redeemable. I couldn't see value in myself at all. It was like I was, I'm trying to really articulate this well. It was like I was a lost one, a fallen one, a lost one, a hollowed out person. It's like I had the person that I was removed from me through violence and neglect and abuse. I spent so many days of my life living in such unbelievable levels of self-loathing, to the point where I almost think I was addicted to it. I saw so little value in myself that I would not take care of myself. I would not shower. I would not use deodorant. I would not brush my teeth. I would not look in the mirror. I would not allow myself when I was younger to have any self-care. And then as I started getting a little bit older in my teen years, I started taking care of myself, but I just didn't like myself. And I really did loathe myself, my very existence, which is really strange now. The person I am now, where I genuinely love myself and I care for myself and appreciate myself. I look back on those moments in my life and it makes me wonder who that person was, because I certainly don't remember that person. At least I don't remember existing as that person. I can close my eyes and I can go back to these moments as a kid, and I can go back to these moments in my teen years, in my early 20s, and I can see myself there, and I have such compassion for the damaged, brutalized human being that I was, that I just kept going. I just kept trying to live. I just kept trying to find a way to get out. Just get out. And I didn't have compassion for that person for a long time after I escaped. I mean, not until I was in my mid-30s did I have any compassion for myself whatsoever at all. It took a long time. It took a long time to undo what had been done to me and to understand what had been done to me and to be able to see my part in what had been done to me in regards to like how I then took all this tornado of self-loathing and destruction inside of me, and I unleashed that on the world and on people. And I think that that's where most of my shame in my soul still lives, is like the people that I hurt, the people that I disrespected, the people that I harmed across my life. I wish I could have been a better man. I really do. But I wasn't. I didn't know how to love anyone, certainly not myself. I didn't know how to be. I didn't know how to remain in myself in this way where this is the authentic one that I really am. You know, when you meet people and you're like, whoa, that's really them. Like there's no facade. There's no fantasy land. There's no, I'm trying to use you to be able to get your approval and look good and all that. It's like such a rare thing. You just meet someone and you're like, wow, I actually just met a person instead of the mask, instead of how they want to be seen, instead of their accomplishments, instead of the, I guess, the distraction that people put forth so that they can't be seen. I've met a lot of people's distraction, a lot of people's projection of themselves that they believe will optimize them getting approval. And I was that person. I was a chameleon. In every regard. I really felt this when I was in my later 20s and I was looking at my life and realizing I'd never actually been me, and I'd been alive over a quarter of a century. I'd never given myself the permission to just be me, to be myself. And it gives me such sadness. Like I couldn't accept myself because that meant that I was accepting this wounded, damaged, mangled person, and I was living in such a way that I could have all my excuses and all of my victimhood and all of my reasons why I deserved to be the way I was. And it was just a tragedy, walking tragedy. It was a walking tragedy in my life. One of my friends at the time kind of defined it like this, like I'm a person with a sword through my, just right through my chest, running around in life with all these wounds and all this damage, and I'm doing all these different things except facing it and healing it and fixing it. And I really put all that I had into working on me for a very long time, like over a decade of just going to groups, doing therapy, reading every self-help book I could possibly find, and continuing to work on my mind, work on my mind, work on my mind, work on my mind, until I could be me. The blessing is it can be done. I genuinely appreciate who I am today. And I've got friends that genuinely appreciate me, and family, that genuinely appreciates me. And I'm okay with me these days. I can look in the mirror and smile and be proud of the man that I am. It certainly took me a long time to get there. But I don't have to hide in the self-loathing anymore that I had done for most of my life. I wanted to be anything but me. I wanted to connect to people in any way but myself. I wanted to use people so that I could feel like I had value. What a tragic way to live your life. What a tragic way to live your life. And I think of all the people that never got to know me because I was unable to be myself. I had to hide in this facade of being the music guy, or I had to hide in this facade of a massive ego, as a narcissistic lunatic. And all that really was me being afraid to genuinely be who I am and share myself with the world. That's all that was. This massive facade for me. I didn't want to be known. I wanted to hide. And I could have done things differently if I would have had different tools. I could have done things really differently. Something that has genuinely helped me in this arena of self-loathing comes down to this very simple thing that anybody can do. You see, in self-loathing, you're taught to despise yourself through a series of traumatic experiences, or people speaking that over your life, or whatever happens. Like in my case, that's what happened. People spoke things over my life that I was a failure and a loser and never going to amount to anything and never going to be much of anything. I mean, that was standard in my life. And I remember the day I decided to start doing this. And it's super simple. It just comes down to this. Look in the mirror and say, I love you out loud. I know for a lot of people, that's going to seem like, this guy's absurd. Maybe, I don't know. But for me, that's what it took. Just looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, because nobody else in my circle did. Nobody else in my family did when I was growing up. All of the love I experienced growing up was about using each other to fulfill our narcissistic supplies. We didn't know any better. Love was conditional. Love was based on performance. It was not based on if I sat in a chair the rest of my life, and regardless of what ended up happening, if I sat in that chair, I would be loved anyway for the very one that I am. That never happened when I was a kid, ever. It was always, do this to perform and you'll get love from me, or you'll get acceptance. It was always about performance, which locked me in self-loathing because I never felt qualified, never felt good enough, never felt like I had what it takes. Continually felt this overarching dread and self-loathing that I'm a failure and the whole world knows it, so why bother? That I'm a screw up and everybody knows it, so why bother? That led most of my life. But now I can look at my past self and see the echoes of my soul that was ravaged and destroyed, and see it mended and healed. And I can say to myself, I may not be where I want to be, but thank goodness I'm not where I used to be. And it's okay to be me. It's okay to be me with all my flaws and all my humanity. Flaws, humanity, same thing.